Yeah.
You're on.
Yeah.
We're up. Are we up? Are we
You're
live?
up.
We're
You're
on air?
live.
We're on air. We're on air. Oh, welcome to the Pragmatic Duelist podcast, where
Hello.
we tell you everything there is to know about being a doula.
Or not.
If you didn't already know.
We're not. Some of the things we're going to tell you is shit that you're like, I'm not doing this fucking work. That's garbage.
That's all right with me. And don't listen to me because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about half the time, anyways.
Me too. Don't listen to me either.
Okay, listen to Stephanie. She's
Listen to Steph.
she knows
She's the
everything.
only one among us who reads journals and
Shit.
guidelines, shit like that.
She's the one we go to when there's when we have questions.
Have you heard of, erythromyritis rigamentosa in pregnancy? What is that? And Steph is
Oh
like,
yes, I just read an
what?
article on it.
blah, blah, blah. Yep, that's Steph.
Uh,
And I'm eating my lunch. You managed to let me finish my sandwich.
I did.
And I think everybody, since this is going to play on Monday, everyone should be in a sugar coma now, having eaten all of the half-price chocolates from Shoppers Drug Mart, as Halloween will have their 50% off sale
Mhm.
because it will be after Halloween.
It'll be, this is your post-Halloween podcast, but it's not Halloween yet for us. So we're going to
No.
talk about Halloween. There you go. If you're all Halloweened out, then
Too fucking bad.
that's what I was going to say. Too bad. Listen anyway.
We're coming for you.
We are coming for you.
But before we do our yabbering and birth things and Halloween, we should do our land acknowledgement.
Please,
True.
please,
True
madam, do
I
it.
can do that. I am happy to do that. Here we go. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the land on which I raise my family, make my living as part of the treaty land and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. For thousands of years, Indigenous peoples inhabited and cared for this land. In particular, I acknowledge the territory of the Anishinaabeg, the Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, Ojibwe, Chippewa peoples, the land that is home to the Métis, and most recently, the territory of the Mississaugas of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, who are direct descendants of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We have much work to do to heal those we have harmed, stolen from, and continue to fail. Let this be the time.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Be the time. Yeah, I like that one. Where'd you get that one?
That's the one that I altered for the Mississauga area and added that last little blurb on that because it felt really weird ending with direct descendants of the Mississaugas of the Credit. It's like, okay, so where's the promise? Where's the intention? Acknowledging is one part. The intention is the necessary next part, right?
True.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's another specific one for, sort of out this way. I mean, Mississauga and East Scarborough, Durham are not that far apart in terms of this whole country.
The one I read from the city of Toronto is
Mhm.
supposed to be specific to Scarborough. It's like separated out as Scarborough, but it doesn't say anything specific about Scarborough. It sounds very similar to that one, except for the Mississaugas of the Credit.
Yeah. I'm finishing my lunch, so can you guys hear me chewing?
What are you eating?
I'm eating a tangerine, but just now I had a delicious grilled cheese sandwich, ham and cheese, grilled cheese. It was delicious, I gotta say. One of the most delicious sandwiches I've ever had. Trick is to use extra old white cheddar, honey ham, and real butter. Yeah.
Better.
Remember the grilled cheese sandwich of your childhood, like mine anyways? I'll only speak for my own mother. Thank you. White Wonder Bread and Kraft slices with margarine.
Yes.
It's a wonder.
Not margarine. We always use butter. But yeah, I have all those ingredients in my fridge right now.
We never used butter ever. I think my mom used butter like once a year when she was making rum cake for Christmas, but that's it.
My dad used to eat butter and onion and cheese sandwiches. Yes, butter as an actual ingredient. And my mom used to eat what are called butter balls, where you would roll up butter and just eat it.
Oh my God.
You'd roll up butter in sugar and eat it.
Holy
So
Now, I love
any
butter.
reason why I'm fat? I've
I
never
love
eaten
butter
them,
and
but
I love sugar, but I don't think I could eat that.
yeah.
My dad also loved onion sandwiches like that. It was so peculiar, but we also never had margarine. My mom was just, she could not wrap her head around it. She's like, we're eating just straight oil. So and we always had real cheese because again, the Kraft single slices grossed her out. She's like, it's oil. Not that we had cheese real cheese very often because that shit was expensive.
Well,
but
when the pandemic hit and I thought, we were going to lose all access to food whatsoever, I ended up getting like a bunch of Kraft slices because that was the only thing left in the goddamn grocery store.
Shelf stable.
Yep.
Need those shelf stable items.
I didn't even know that Kraft single slices were not real cheese until I was a grown adult with children of my own.
Don't tell anybody.
Are Kraft singles the same thing as American cheese? Like when they say American cheese?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I suspected. I wasn't 100%.
Yeah, we should probably clarify that because it has turned out that we actually have more American listeners than Canadian now.
Fascinating.
Yes. 47% American and only 45% Canadian.
Well, we send them forward because this day will be Monday, and I think their polls are Tuesday, aren't they?
Yeah, election day's Tuesday.
Yeah, their voting polls close at the end of day Tuesday. So we wish you well with your
Please
election.
Don't fuck this up.
I was going to say, Stephanie's there being so nice and diplomatic as usual. We wish you well as you make choices to guide your country and your nation forward. And me and Kim are like, do not fuck this up. The entire world depends on this. Especially us, especially your neighbors to the north.
Yeah, exactly. who your president has insulted on more than one occasion.
The peculiar thing about that, like his commentary about how he keeps claiming that we're so excited to reopen the borders.
We're not.
We're not. He keeps saying that the government is looking forward to opening the borders again, and we're anxious to go, but we're not. So
stay where you are. Get your shit under control.
He sounds like he believes it too. Like he's telling himself stories.
He believes everything he says.
He believes everything he says. That's the scary part. But I mean, he's talking for himself. Oh, we're very excited to have the borders open. Oh, really? That's nice, but we're not. Are you doing anything to further those aims? Oh, no. Well, then they shall remain closed.
Yep.
That's all. Oh my God. Crazy.
He's delusional.
Please, people.
God.
I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to have a day of mourning. If next week,
he's still president.
By the next time we record, we will know. And I'm not saying that the other side is perfect.
No.
There's never any perfect candidate. Everybody's got some kind of problematic area. What? What are you looking at?
It's fucking snowing.
No.
That's snow. That's snow.
That's it. We're done, you guys. Everybody, we've got to go. We've got to go now.
Yeah, no, I'm done.
We have to go.
The apocalypse is upon us.
That's what Canadians do. It's snowing. There's snow flurries. Okay, that's it. Everybody, everything shuts down. Never mind COVID. Now we need to lock down. It's a snow day.
It might be my fault. We closed the pool on Tuesday. I think we signaled.
Absolutely, it is your fault. I'm gonna blame you. I'm looking and I don't see. It must be.
I'm pretty sure that's not rain.
It's snowing in mid Scarborough because it's not snowing in East Scarborough.
Like it looks like it's too floaty to be rain. Ugh, whatever.
I mean, I did hear.
I know it's certainly not staying. It's hitting the ground and melting.
Yesterday and this morning, I said to myself, I did not utter the words out loud, but I said, it feels like snow. I did say that to myself.
You thought it. You fucked it up for all of us.
It smelled like it. Well, I didn't say it out loud. I said, I'm not going to say it.
Doesn't matter.
I'm just going to think it in my head.
You don't know how powerful you actually are.
My thoughts are, I know. I should keep thinking bikinis and flip-flops.
Too late.
Too late.
Mm-hmm. So I have no ripped from the headlines today. However, I am in a Twitter war with
That you started?
Did I?
Or did you jump in?
No, it's in response to something I said. So
You
I've
started it.
so yeah, I guess it is my fault. But this one particular white man is trying to mansplain to me how important it is to get gyms open and how gyms are not, super spreaders of COVID. So I don't really care because my original post was actually that places like CP24, which is our news sort of station, one of our news stations, was talking about how, there's a petition going around to open gyms and blah, blah, blah. And I just said, I'm glad people's priorities are so screwed up that this is what we're worried about, whereas there's birthing parents, birthing alone and not having the support that they need in birth. But yeah, let's worry about your leg day. That was pretty much my post.
Yep.
Well, the ire that
you
came.
Thought that you called his mother a cow.
So now, and it died yesterday. However, this morning I woke up to this guy, two guys actually, again, posting, some bizarre random, not really well referenced article on, how gyms are not super spreaders and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, whatever. At one point I said, okay, but you don't understand. Like, you're expecting to open up a place where bodily fluids are being openly released.
Yeah.
And some guy goes, I've been in the gym industry for 25 years and I've never seen bodily fluids. So nobody sweats in your gym? I said, from an infection point of view.
I'm far from a gym rat, but the few times that I've been to the gym, I've seen somebody come up out of a movement that they were doing, and then the sweat went like this.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen that, and I thought to myself, that is so freaking gross because I don't like other people's body fluids.
Yeah. And now look, I'm not saying that the gym industry is bad, because trust me, I was a gym rat for a very brief period of time until I realized that I love myself the way I am. So, and I stopped trying to chase people to love me better because of how I looked. So don't get me wrong. I think if you want to go to the gym, no problem. My whole point of all of that was that I am so utterly sick and tired of news outlets focusing on these places that can fucking stay shut for a couple more months. But let's look at the impact that COVID has on birthing parents who are birthing alone because of travel bans, because their family can't come over to look after other children, so their partner has to stay with them. Let's talk about the increase of postpartum mood disorders as a result of the isolation that birthing parents are experiencing after baby is born. Let's talk about hospitals not being equipped to manage the comfort of and support, as we were just talking about, of families during their birthing time, because, they're all over the place and in full PPE and short staffed and all this stuff. Like, fucking let's get our priorities in check. I don't fucking care if you go to the gym. Go to the fucking gym. I don't care. But we need to focus on what is really mattering. We need to focus on long-term care homes where old people are dying alone. We need to fucking get our heads in priority and start thinking about other people as opposed to just your own fucking selfish issues. I'm done. That's my ripped from the Twitter headlines.
Twitter headlines. That was your rant of the day. Billy Fernandez rant corner. Do you have a rant, Steph? It doesn't have to be about COVID.
Well, it's a little bit about COVID, but it's not really about COVID, and it's not really a rant. I decided to type in birth and news headlines and see what popped up, since we're talking about ripped from the headlines. And unfortunately, the first one that popped up is beloved Indiana doctor dies after giving birth.
Oh, that woman, yes.
Awareness of pregnancy and postpartum disparities. But
and she had preeclampsia, right?
Preeclampsia. Yeah, she.
But she had postpartum preeclampsia.
It said from complications of her birth. Yes, she died from complications of giving birth to a baby girl. Dr. Shanice Wallace, a chief pediatric resident, is shining the spotlight on the issue of maternal mortality. But what really got me, it is, horrible to see the just women dropping like this, particularly Black women dropping for what seems like, because through this article, which drives me a little bit crazy, they keep talking about the importance of early care in your pregnancy, and it significantly reduces your chance significantly reduces the mortality rate by having early care. This is a chief pediatric resident with the best of care, in the best of places, with all of the care, with access to care, and yet she died from preeclampsia related issues.
Because that's what they like to do. They like to spin it in even the smallest of ways to make it seem like she's responsible. She didn't seek prenatal care. She was thoughtless and irresponsible about her first trimester care. Yeah, right.
Even though she may have been telling people about XYZ, I have this headache, I have this happening, and her doctor going, you're okay, don't worry about it. That's just pregnancy.
Yeah, it's just drink some water.
This rate really threw me at the end of the article. This is being quoted by Dr. Sylvia Gates Carlisle of the Association of Black Women Physicians. She's the president. That she is outraged after learning about Dr. Wallace's death. California has a death rate of 4.5 per 100,000, but the person who passed away was not in California. They were in Indiana, where the death rate is 41 per 100,000.
What?
41 people per 100,000 will die in childbirth, giving birth in Indiana.
Holy shit.
This is all birthing people too. Never mind a Black person giving birth in Indiana. I wonder what percentage of those 41 are Black birthing people in Indiana. But
well, there's Mike Pence state.
But 41 of 100,000 birthing people, 41 will die in Indiana.
That's ridiculous.
And 4.5 in California. Like that is a
huge discrepancy.
That's terrible.
What the hell is that about?
That requires a monstrous inquiry.
Yeah.
Hello?
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
Oh gosh.
Wow.
So it wasn't a rant, but it was a very
ripped from the headlines
headline.
It is. It's heart-wrenching. You just want to have a baby.
Yeah.
You want to die.
Yeah, you didn't sign up to die. You just wanted, and I mean, now you get it why people are terrified of birth. Because of dumb fucking shit like this. Come on.
I just had a conversation with somebody, so this isn't a rant either, but it was just like my position about something. They were reading a book, I fucking forget what it's called. And anyways, it's good. I don't want to give it any damn advertisement because it was a book that was speaking about making the choice. So this is a diplomatic way of putting it. It was about making the choice to be child free. So making the choice to not have children. Okay. Which is an absolutely legitimate choice. And I support anybody who, that's parenting is not for everybody.
Nope.
As we know. But the majority of arguments that the person in the book was using against having children is how your body changes. Like they went through like your tits are going to sag, your skin on your belly and your vagina hole. They're two different things. Your vagina and your vagina hole. And all of that's going to change, and your sex life is going to change. Also, your social life is going to change, and so on. And I was like irate and I said, you know what? It is a legitimate thing to choose not to have children, but there are other reasons why you shouldn't have children.
Yeah.
And your stretch marks, let me tell you, sweetie, are the last of them.
Hush.
There are, it really sounds like you've got no furniture in your house, Steph. Like you live in a giant, you live in a giant temple of a house with no furniture. Just tile flooring. Yeah, so that's what was pissing me off. I was like, there were bigger issues. There are bigger issues that are being faced in maternal health today. And that's what people are writing about. That you might have a saggy belly afterwards.
I love my saggy belly.
And I'm not again disparaging anybody who doesn't like their, I don't like my saggy belly. You can love yours. I don't like mine. I don't like it. My skin skirt, as I call it. I don't like it.
I've gotten used to it. I don't care anymore.
My skin apron. I mean, I've gotten used to it and it is what it is. But if I had a magic wand, I would totally change it.
True.
So
this
I
is
get
true.
that it's a legitimate issue.
I'm not giving up chips for my skin skirt, though.
This is the thing. What's the price
What's the priority?
Get rid of the skin apron.
Yeah.
But I really think that we are fucking so focused on ourselves, man.
Exactly.
In our culture, that everything is about me and how I look and how I feel. Fuck.
And I mean, that's valid.
Things going on.
If you want to be, into yourself and, worry about how you look, and I'm right there for you. I'm right there for you. However, you have to pair that with the empathy for other people.
Yeah, because it's that kind of fucking self-obsession that leads to this bullshit idea about, oh, if I have to wear a mask, it's against my civil liberties and my freedom and all of that is being infringed upon because it's all about me and my freedoms and my liberty and my right to do this or my right to do that. Again, I have to qualify that I understand there are people who have legitimate medical and clinical and psychological.
That's not what we're talking about.
Mask, and that's not what I'm talking about because that's a very small percentage of people who need that accommodation. I'm talking about the majority of assholes who only care about themselves. And it starts with shit like that.
Yep.
I'm going to make major life decisions because I don't want to ruin these things that, in the grand scheme of things, really, you're going to never have grandbabies because I would never give up my grandbaby.
You know what happens when you don't have, children? What? You know what happens when you don't have children? You have somebody else looking after you when you're old.
Well, you just stay obsessed with yourself forever. And you don't ever have the opportunity to place the burden of that on somebody else, which is what I look forward to when I'm old.
I know. I'm looking at my kids going, all right, which one of you three is stepping up?
The other day, what were we doing? Oh, we were like ordering food or something. Like most of my kids are here and we were ordering food and everybody was like placing their orders. I don't know, I think we're having subs or something. And then I said, okay, so where's the list with everybody's stuff? Because I just assumed that I would be the one doing the call and placing the order because that's always been my job.
Yeah.
And one of my sons said, no, Mom, I'll do it. Did somebody get Mom's order? I was standing right there. And he asked everybody else, did somebody get Mom's order? And then I said, well, no, nobody got my order. Oh my God, you didn't get Mom's order. Oh, damn it. I hung up the phone and said, okay, Mom, what do you want? But it made me feel like, well, did somebody get Mom's order and I'm not the one placing the order? Hold on, is this a slight shift in the...
Am I being punked?
Is this how it starts? That somebody takes my order and orders my food for me? Hey, I'm there for it. But guess what? Because I had children. Boy, I can look forward to that.
Yep.
One day I don't ever have to order my own food.
When Xander comes home with groceries, it always cracks me up. It's like he brings in groceries. He's like, I picked up this and this, and we're out of bananas. I'm like, what?
You're like, what? What do you? That's my job. Are you trying to steal my job? You're trying to take my job. Anyways, do what you want. Do not have children if you don't want to have children. I think it's a legitimate and beautiful and wonderful choice. People, you can have a lovely, wonderful life without kids. There are drawbacks to everything. Yes, there are. There are consequences to everything. Trust me, I could talk for an hour about the drawbacks about having children. There's lots of them. And some of them are way bigger and more important than
saggy boobs. Isn't that why God invented push-up bras? Isn't that why Victoria's Secrets exists?
Oh, Lord. Why are we so angry? Why are we so angry?
Because it's fucking snowing.
She's lying there. She's like, life is just life. Right, Zig? Yeah. So,
all right, what are we talking about today?
Well, we don't really have a topic.
Well,
this is it.
This is it.
I went to Fami Bakery today. That was fun.
You went where?
Fami?
Yeah.
God damn you. What were you doing over there?
I was on my way back from seeing my client, so I went in and grabbed some cocoa bread and some patties.
And I keep telling you to buy the Hardo bread.
I know. Actually, they did not have it. They only had the stuff that was out on the shelves. Whereas, you know, when you go up to the cash, they have the shelf that's behind the cash, which is actually the fresh stuff.
Yeah.
The latest stuff. There was no Hardo bread on that thing. Otherwise, I would have got it.
Oh, Fami's falling apart.
Well, it was the lunch hour, so
they always have a fresh Hardo bread. My father used to go to Fami. This is a Jamaican Chinese bakery in the neighborhood where we used to live. And my father used to go on, I don't know if it was Saturday morning. I think it was Saturday mornings because they never used to be open on Sundays. And he would the bread would be hot. He would bring it home and you couldn't put it in a plastic bag because it would get all sweaty because it's so hot. They'd put it in a paper bag and then give him an extra plastic bag. And we'd go home and we'd cut it and you'd cut it and it would be steaming. As you put the butter on it, it just melted. Oh my God. That is, people, just go look up Jamaican Hardo bread and try to find some if you can. It is I have to stay away from it because I'll eat the whole fucking loaf. And I'll slice the slices like this thick. And very delicious. I hope you enjoy your Fami patties, which I'm not so much a fan of, but there you go. Speaking of food, we were talking about grilled cheese sandwiches a minute ago. And I was going to say something more about that because I changed my whole nutritional philosophy after I had kids, right? So I never bought white bread again. When I found out about real cheese, I only ever bought real cheese. So my kids grew up with whole wheat bread, real butter, and real cheese. That's how their grilled cheese sandwiches that was what it was for them. And ketchup. Once they went over to my ex-husband's aunt's house. My ex-husband had this amazing aunt. Her name was Auntie Telma. Auntie Telma was raising all 8 of her grandchildren by herself, okay?
Oh, wow.
With her husband. Auntie Telma was a nurse at St. Mike's. She worked at St. Mike's for like 45 years.
Oh, wow.
She retired. Yep. And Auntie Telma would save up all her vacations and have be home all summer when they were home for the summer. So in the mornings, she would put her bathing suit on and just like supervise them in the pool. Their house was a disaster.
I love it.
It was so messy. My kids loved going there because you could do fucking anything you want. You could eat on the couch. You could put your feet. Didn't matter if your feet were dirty. It was great. Wow. One time they went to Auntie Telma's house and they came back raving about this delicious thing that Auntie Telma made for them. And you know what it was? She made them a grilled cheese sandwich with white bread.
And cheese slices.
And margarine.
Oh!
And she let them put pancake syrup on it.
Oh my God.
Holy shit. They must have been bouncing off the walls.
Fucking chemical sugar heaven. To this day, they still talk about how delicious that was.
I was like diving into a bowl of Halloween candy.
Yeah, you have to make that. And I was so horrified. I said, no, that was a once in a lifetime opportunity that you could attribute to Auntie Telma. And that is all. You're never going to get that in my house. But they talked about it forever. Can you believe? And I said, I was with you all the way up until the pancake syrup, because that's what I had when I was a kid. But she let me, and I said, and I bet she let you like swim it. Yeah. They had like the plates were full of pancake syrup, like dripping. Because in our house, I would like dole out the pancake syrup.
Oh my God, you're so mean.
Because I'm like, it's too much sugar. It's too much sugar. And I would like carefully put the pancake syrup on. But oh my God. So that was the other half of my grilled cheese sandwich story.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. We got a review.
We do? Did
Yeah.
it just come in? You just found it?
What's the date? It must have come in yesterday. And because it's in the States, I don't get to see the States ones when I look up our own podcast on Apple. I can't, I'm only seeing Canadian stuff. So when stuff comes through on the States, I have a program that will pull up stuff that comes in from other countries. So this is from the States, from Alvany via Apple Podcasts. What a gem, 5 stars. I'm happy to have stumbled across this podcast. Funny and entertaining while also informative and encouraging.
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
I love it. Except for this episode, because we're not telling you shit.
Yeah, we're not informative at all at this point.
Now, I had wanted to talk about Halloween stuff, and Kim, I think you said that your Halloween story from last year you already told.
Yeah.
You told that on air. For some reason, I thought you told us, but didn't say it on air.
No, we had a whole Halloween episode.
Yeah. And we even showed the picture from the haunted hospital at Royal.
Yeah.
With somebody who would be like my great grandmother as a little girl.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when I told it.
Oh, that means I probably told the story about the birthing circle house in Oshawa. Did I? Does that sound familiar?
No.
It doesn't sound familiar to me, but you can't trust my memory. You could easily have told it, and I just don't remember. Say it again. It's been a year.
Spooky Halloween stuff. Well, it's not even Halloween. Like every fucking time I would go there. So okay, so let me back up before I get ahead of myself. There was a VBAC support group. Actually, it wasn't even a VBAC support group. It was more of a cesarean awareness group. Currently, it's called International Cesarean Awareness Network, but they were at one point joined with something called the Birthing Circle. And so anybody who was looking to have a supported birth experience was welcome, but often it would ended up being people who had had a previous traumatic birth, and that's why they were looking for a supported birth this time around. So the Knights of Columbus of Oshawa were kind enough to donate their space to us to hold our meetings. And the Knights of Columbus owned an older home in Oshawa, a very, very, very old bungalow off of Bloor Street in Oshawa. And we had kept all of our things there, and the space that we used was in the basement. So it's like old brown paneled walls. It was, it sounds musty. It was
so like my basement.
Was it old and musty?
Wood paneling?
That's it. Uneven floors. But we were so thankful to have a space where everyone could meet. But unfortunately, when I first started going, I didn't think much of it. I just thought it was kind of like a weird energy in the house. Didn't think much of it when I wasn't running it. However, once I took over the birthing circle, as soon as I would unlock the side door, and when you walked in, you would either go straight up 3 stairs into the kitchen, or you would go to the left down the stairs into the basement. And as soon as I opened the door, and then even more so when I closed the door, it felt like a cloak was on my body, like someone had more than one set of hands on my shoulders. And it didn't feel threatening, but it felt like someone was holding me and walking through the house with me, hugging me from behind. Like that's what it felt like. It felt heavy. It felt yucky. It felt like, oh my God, just leave me alone. And I'd want to go up those 3 stairs and turn on the lights and start making the tea and getting the snacks ready for the meeting and stuff like that. But it literally, sometimes it would feel like it was on my shoulders, and then sometimes it felt like it was around my waist. And there was more than one time where I had to stand in the kitchen and just stop what I was doing and say, you need to step away from me. And
you said that to the spirit?
I said that to just out in the open. and it would all dissipate. It's almost like it would spread out, or everyone would take it on or something. The more people that came into the house, the less you felt it, the less you're aware of it. But it happened right up until I stopped doing the thing. It was the most intense as soon as I opened the door and came into the house. It was the strangest thing, whether it was, I know some people say sometimes you get like a cold breeze or something like that. For me, it was just more like someone was on you and with you the whole time.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
A few episodes ago, I told you guys about a recommendation from Karen Kilgare from My Favorite Murder about a new podcast that she's listening to called Spooked. I've started listening to Spooked and I cannot stop. It is addictive. The stories on there are so creepy crawly. If I am listening in my bed, which almost always I am listening in my bed, I need to pull the covers up right over my head because I can't even listen to the stories. And these are real experiences that people have had. And it freaks me out and it makes me think, so I should be afraid when I walk into the dark hallway then?
Yes.
Because the only thing that makes me not afraid is saying to myself, there's no such thing as ghosts. Everything is in your imagination. And then I could march through my dark house by myself. But now I can't, because these are just intelligent, normal people having these weird experiences.
I told you guys about when I went to Alcatraz, didn't I? In San Francisco?
I think you told us. I don't think you put it on the podcast.
Well, I know how dumb this makes me sound, but I am sensitive to this shit. I am. I can't help myself. And I don't know if I had experiences when I was a kid or anything like that, but I know when something's not right. And we went to San Francisco for a convention, me and my mom, for a club that she's in. And we went to Alcatraz. And of course, Alcatraz is haunted. I mean, you can't not be haunted with the amount of death and trauma that happened there. But when we were leaving, I didn't necessarily feel uncomfortable when we were in the actual like buildings. But when we were leaving, we had to, the way it was, because it's built up on a rock and there's lots of like walkways downward towards where the boat would be to take us back. So we were outside and we were walking down, the ocean, or San Francisco Bay was on one side, and my mom was ahead of me, which is unusual because her legs are, you know, 1.5 feet tall. But I was walking behind her and there was something walking up on me, like not like there was somebody walking, you know, a little bit further back, but there was something on, like what you said, stuff like there was somebody kind of up my back walking right with me. And the intensity of this feeling was more than I could handle, which is unusual because I can actually handle quite a bit. But I guess with it being Alcatraz, I've never been in that experience before. So with my mom, I kind of slowed down a little bit because I didn't want my mom to think I was insane, because I've never really had these conversations with her. I let her walk ahead a bit and kind of looked around like nobody was watching and just went, "Get the fuck back from me." And at that point, everything just changed and everything just felt different. And I was like, okay. And then I walked on again. But it was like that intensity of feeling that somebody is like right behind you, but there wasn't anybody right behind me, was like, what the fuck?
I mean, there's energy.
Oh,
Energy's real.
absolutely.
And we're all made of energy, and everything around us is energy. So when somebody dies, does that mean that all the energy that they contain, that they represent, disappears? I don't think so. Does that translate into actual literal what we call ghosts? I don't know, but I think it translates to something.
Yeah.
And that those somethings are different to different people and in different parts of the world. I just think there's different energy, like there are different energy spots. There are different things, the way things move in certain parts of the world, and it's science. It's not woo-woo. It's actually it. Well, I actually have a story I remember.
Ooh.
Something. It's not a ghosty kind of thing, but it's a strange thing that to this day we don't know what the heck it was all about. So when my kids were little, we lived in a big house, and we had a huge back room, like a big family room. Had a big wood fireplace. It was really nice. And so we had 2 futons in there and the TV. And so one night we were watching, me, and because it was, I think one of my cousins was there, but it might have been just me and my little kids. So therefore I have no other adult to back me up because the kids won't remember. And on the fireplace mantle, I had these pretty pink glass goblets, right? And like little knickknacks and pictures and things like that. But there was like one goblet on one end of the mantle and one goblet on the other end, right? Glass. So we're watching TV, and the room is mostly dark. Over across the way in the kitchen there was a light on, but it was pretty dark where we were. So we're all into the movie, and I had cleaned, it was a Friday night, and I had cleaned the house. I had taken the glasses down and cleaned them because they were grimy and dusty. And I remember that I didn't want to turn the lights off because they looked so pretty in the light in the back room, the pink glass, the way it was shining. So I know those glasses were empty, right? So we're watching TV, and in the middle of the movie or whatever we're watching, we heard clink, like a really loud clink that came from the fireplace mantle. So I said, what the hell? I looked around. It felt like something was thrown across the room and landed in the glass. So I jumped up because I thought it was one of my older boys being an asshole.
Which is valid. They're boys.
Valid. And hey, I would have had to call the NBA to come recruit this kid because I'm telling you, this was a big room.
Yeah.
This was a really big room. It almost as big as like your whole downstairs, Kim. It was such a big room. And to stand from one end, and you know what it was? It was 2 marbles. I turned on the light and I ran over to the fireplace and I looked inside the glass. There were 2 marbles in there, and there was a crack, a little hairline crack in one of the glasses. So I then ran out of the room and said, oh my God, you guys, you broke my glass. Because I still thought that it was one of my older boys. Nobody was there. Nobody was in the house except the 3 little kids who were sitting on the futon looking at me like, Mom, what?
What's wrong with you?
And then I said, who threw those marbles into the glass? And it wasn't any of them because we were all snuggled up under blankets. To this day, who could have stood across the room and threw 2 marbles, 2 across the room and have those 2 marbles land clink into the glass so hard that it broke? So there you go. You tell me, you explain that to me, churchgoers. But is it Satan? Was it Satan? What was it?
I don't know.
I don't think most ghosts are malicious. I think because I've already explained earlier this year that I believe in ghosts, and that's just the way it is. And I don't believe that majority of ghosts are malicious. I don't even believe that the majority of ghosts are conscious of sort of their existence to us.
Yeah.
There's certain definitely varying theories of ghostly happenings. But yeah, I think that shit exists, and that when it's shit you can't explain, what else is it?
I also have to say that our house backed onto a cemetery.
Oh, well, there's a detail you didn't do. You did.
One of the
held on to.
One of the oldest.
Bury the lead.
Scarborough. There are graves in there from like early 1800s, like very old graves in that cemetery. huge grave, big. It's a huge church property, St. Margaret's in the Pines, St. Margaret's in the Pines Anglican Church.
I know that one.
Yeah, so our house backed right onto there. I literally, if the fence, my back fence, there was gravestone like right at the back fence, and I used to have to stop Kyle from climbing onto the playset and yelling at people who were mourning at the graveside.
Oh no.
Loved ones, because he'd be like, "Hey, what are you doing over there? Why are you singing? What's that book you're reading? Hey!" So yeah, we lived right by the cemetery, and I don't know, maybe that was my mother-in-law told us not to buy that house.
But that's the only thing that happened in that house that you know of?
Yeah, well, the only kind of ghostly thing, there were a lot of weird things. Like when we pulled the walls up, the stuff we found was weird. Old time porn cards. Yeah, old timey, like naked ladies from the 20s with long pearls. They were naked, but they'd have like a big ostrich feather.
Oh.
But like with long pearls and the finger waves and the Betty Boop lips lying on a chaise like that. Like,
wow, those could have been collector's items.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to them. Newspapers from
really? Did you ask John? You don't know what happened to them?
I was just going to say, I think John has them. And newspapers from 1917.
Way.
Yeah, stuff like that. Because they use the newspapers to line the.
You need to send that story into Karen in Georgia.
I don't know if that's exciting.
Come on.
They love stuff.
They love shit found in walls.
20s porn. They'd love that.
Old time porn. We dug up all kinds of our house was a farmhouse. All the area around it was a farm, and it was a turkey farm. So we found like turkey wire and stuff like that. And it was all so sandy. My backyard was so sandy. When I wanted to do a garden, my backyard was so sandy. And when we went to somebody who knows all about the history of Scarborough and the land and all that. And he said, well, yeah, didn't you know? And he said, tens of thousands of years ago, the lake went all the way up to your house. And your house was the beach, like my area. And I was like, oh, okay. Because we lived like right off Kingston Road.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I guess that's not that strange. But yeah, it was total sand. When I can't make a garden in complete sand. You'd dig and it would just all come up. Easy.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways, we always want to go knock on that door and say, can we come in and see where Noah was born and where Dad was born? My cousin had a baby in that house. Huh?
I want to do that at my grandparents' house on Reedmont Drive at Warden and Shepherd area.
Yeah, I know Reedmont Drive. Mm-hmm.
Right by Tam O'Shanter there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. My grandparents' house was there, and all the time, whenever I'm in the area, I do a drive-by. A couple times people have been outside looking at me like, why are you going slow past my house? But so many wonderful memories there. And I just, as soon as I go by, I get weird thoughts. Like, I wonder if they would let me in. It's like,
me too. I always say that too. I have pictures of how the house looked inside before, because we did a lot of renovations in there and changed the whole interior of the house, and how it looked before we were there was very farmhousey inside. And I want to like bring pictures and say, look, just this back room used to look like this and all of that. But I don't know. Did you know I gave birth in this room? I don't know if people would be impressed with that.
I would not be. I would be like, yeah, crazy lady, I'm just going to close this door slowly and you just find your way home. If you need me to call you an Uber, I can do that for you.
Or the cops would take your pick.
my grandparents and her, I guess Dolly would have been my grandmother's aunt. They lived in side-by-side houses on Kennedy Road, across from where the drive-in used to be.
Yeah.
So they used to live right across the street in these tiny little houses. And when my mother was young, they lived in like an upstairs apartment, or in somewhere. And when they were going to, they lived in one of the houses. And then when they were going to move, they were packing everything up. And my grandfather found in the fireplace, stuffed into the fireplace, old pieces of meat and dried up meat.
What?
And it turned out, and he was like horrified by this. And it turned out, though, that it was my mother shoving meat in behind the fireplace, and not meat, liver in behind the fireplace. They would let her eat in front of the TV on a TV table, and she didn't want to eat the liver, so she would take it and shove it in behind the fireplace, so
Oh, I love
where
that.
it would rot for years until my grandfather found it when they were moving.
Oh, I love the stories behind that stuff. That's really cool. I mean, if all the houses I've ever lived in, there's one house we lived in Jamaica that I would love to go back, besides Westcroft, where my kids were born and stuff. But when I was a little kid, we lived in this house. So imagine a house like in the 60s and 70s. I don't know when it was built, but a house in the tropics, huge veranda, a long, long drive that ended in a giant carport. It was such a big house that there were 2 bedrooms, living room, dining room, and a giant kitchen, maid's quarters, a room to like wash clothes, and a courtyard.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then there was a long, long hallway, and then there was an apartment at the back, and that's where we lived. My mom and dad and me. We lived in an apartment at the back, and there was like windows all across my room, and then there was like mango trees and coconut trees and guava trees and all kinds of trees
Oh my
all
God, it sounds
around.
like heaven on
Yeah.
earth.
And when you went to one end of the veranda, there were stairs that went up to like a rooftop patio that we would go at nighttime and look at the stars. Like we had chairs and stuff up there. It was beautiful. And the only person that lived in the house was one old woman named Mrs. Ramsey. Mrs. Ramsey rented the back apartment to my parents and me. And she used to just sit in her rocking chair chewing something and just watch me all the time. That's all she did. And I would, this is going to sound a little shining, just ride my tricycle up and down the driveway because it was so long. It was the driveway was so long that you had a long, long drive up. You turn around and have and then you could lift your feet off because it was a slight incline and your tricycle would go down far. And then you'd spin around in this carport. And Miss Ramsey would just be sitting there on the veranda watching me, eating peanuts or something, I think. And she lived there by herself. I swear to God, she was like 90 years old.
Wow.
I would love to go back to that house to see what, if my memories are correct. Probably as big as I remember it. 3 Sunset Drive. Even has a fancy name.
It does have a fancy name.
3 Sunset Drive.
That's Port Royal?
No, that wasn't in Port Royal. So that was in Kingston when my mom and dad got married, and my mom came back to live in Jamaica, and they were there for a year before she left again. So I lived with my parents for a year during that time, and that's one of the places we lived. Yeah. And that was where I got I have other stories about that house too, but that's how it looked.
I hate to do this, but I gotta take my kid to
You gotta go.
to work in 5 minutes.
Well, I mean, it's been an hour and 10 minutes.
Oh, has it? Okay, well, that's reasonable.
I wasn't going to ask about any haunted stories from Port Royal, but maybe we can do that another time. I mean, Port Royal's been there for ever. There has to be.
Port Royal is friggin' just plain old haunted. The whole place,
just everywhere.
Water, the sea all around the place is haunted. That's where all, like during the 1600s, that's where all kinds of debauchery and everything happened. Lots of murder.
Are you watching the CBC show called Enslaved with Samuel L. Jackson?
No, on CBC?
Yeah, it's on CBC. It's on Sunday nights. I've seen, so there's been 2 episodes. I don't know how many there are, but there's been 2 episodes. And he's talking about, they're sort of exploring the slave trade, but not the slave trade that ended in like, South America and North America, about the ships that actually didn't make it. And the people that died on the way to there. So it's been, I've only seen 1 episode. There was another one on Sunday that I haven't seen yet. But it's been quite fascinating. So but I love like that sort of archaeological mystery shit.
Well, then you must dive into the whole history of Port Royal. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, like I love that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's quite fascinating. So I recommend it. And of course, it's Samuel L. Jackson who could literally stand there and read the
He
phone book. I
narrates
don't
it?
care. He's in it.
Oh, he's in it.
Yeah.
Oh, is it a documentary or is it
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. He's gone.
Yeah, like
He's found his. So he went back to. Can't remember. I hate my memory now. He went back to an area in Africa, traced his roots back to this area in Africa, and got sort of brought back into the tribe that actually still exists there. And they basically was like, bringing their brother home and all. It was really amazing. It was really quite beautiful. But yeah, so there's that part of it, of sort of him exploring that part. And then there's another part that sort of plays along with it, of these archaeologists going down into the sea and, trying to find these boats and things like that, that they know had slaves on them, but didn't
yeah,
make it to their
make
final
it.
destination.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh my
it's
gosh, can you imagine? There are thousands and thousands of souls at the
thousands.
bottom of the ocean.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my
No.
God. Well, one of the places that's on my bucket list to go is to visit the Castle of No Return in Ghana, that the place where slaves were held until their ships came to take them away, and they would be held in a specific place in this big castle, and then they would walk out a specific door, never to return.
Yep.
I just get chills thinking about it. And I just read a book by Ya Gyasi. One of her other books is right here. I haven't read it yet. Yaajyasi, and it was called Homegoing, and it was specifically about that place and the area around that area too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of the places. I mean, I say I want to go, but I'm not 100% sure I could deal.
Yeah.
But if you gave me a free ticket to Ghana, I'd take it. I'd go.
Well, it's funny. I think one of the most amazing things about it, just quickly before I have to sign off, I think one of the amazing things about it is that, I mean, normally when I watch these shows on archaeology and, diving and things like that, because I watch a lot of shark shows too, is that the people are all white, like they're all predominantly white. Yet it is being run, the expedition itself is being run by a white man, but the sort of junior archaeologists and divers that they have are Black. And it's just, you can see how it's affecting these young people, like, and just exploring that history and whatnot. And it's upsetting, obviously, but it's amazing to see that sort of.
Yeah, that rediscovery.
Yeah. So yeah, so I highly recommend it. Enslaved on CBC. It's probably on CBC Gem, which you can probably have a look.
I'm gonna look it up right as soon as we get off here.
And as I say, it's Samuel L. Jackson.
So
the man's a god. So
it could be anything. So
yeah, he could be reading the phone book for 3 hours, and I'd be like, "Yep, honey, you just keep on talking."
He's my man.
I'm looking for John fucking Johnson.
All right. So remember to read the book, The Birth Yard.
Birth Yard. I'm done. Who's done?
I'm not done. I can't dig myself through it. I'm so sorry. I feel so terrible.
Wow.
I feel so bad. I hate reading this book.
Wow. Okay, so
I do everything in my power not to read it.
Wow.
So, but I'll have it finished by my due date.
I was prepared to hate it because of what you said, but
no, it makes me itchy.
We'll slather you up with calamine lotion and.
All right, so read the book. When is that? November 19th we're recording?
That sounds right.
Is that what you said?
I think so.
See, that sounds kind of late, but anyways.
I can't remember. I thought you said 17th, but that's a Tuesday, so that wasn't right.
Well, because it is the Thursday before my regular book club, and for sure my regular book club is not the 19th. It's the second Saturday is my regular book club. So it would be like the second.
The second Saturday is the 14th, so the 12th?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, it's the 12th. Oh, fuck, I only
Yeah.
have 2 weeks now to read it. Okay.
You can
I'm
do-
almost done.
Actually a fast read.
It is. I
It
just
is.
can't plow through it.
Yeah, but if you hate it, it might as well be molasses.
Yeah, it might as well be War and Peace. All right, so read it. Don't listen to me. If you want to be part of it, please email us at thepragmaticdoulas@gmail.com.
If you disagree with her vehemently, then get your ass on the show.
Yeah, get your ass on. So that'll be the 12th. And yeah, awesome. And
Okay.
rate, review, and subscribe.
Mhm.
And tell your friends.
Bye,
And
friend.
yeah.
And see you next week.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.